faster, smarter. Almost daily, science seems to promise a new kind of supercharged mind. Diets promise a burst of intelligence. Drugs promise to boost attention or memory. But if we do pop that pill, what might the consequences be? Instead of being a blessing, could genius be a curse? In Warwick, England, psychology professor Thomas Hills has come to the conclusion that genius is overrated. His local pub is the perfect place to demonstrate this.
It's a complicated context, an environment that requires you to be able to choose beers, to be able to talk with different people. It's a challenging situation, and minds like ours are adapted for this kind of thing.
We tend to think supercharged brains could only make us better. They'll help us deal with life's complex problems. But Thomas disagrees. His reason? Evolution.
So there's this idea that more is better, right? More memory, more focus, more self-control, more willpower. But you have to realize that evolution's been sort of selecting for our minds for millions of years. And if those things were just good, why wouldn't we have minds like that already?
Looking at the human mind through the lens of evolution explains why most of us aren't geniuses. In a complex and ever-changing environment, our minds don't need to be exceptional. They need to find the right balance between accuracy and speed.
So evolution has to pay attention to both how quickly we want to be able to do things, as well as how accurately we want to be able to do things. And a dart game is a good analogy for this kind of problem. You can see first I'm trying to be fairly accurate, but as I increase my speed, I start to lose that accuracy. And so this represents that balance between being focused and taking your time and being too fast and throwing too many things, maybe in the wrong directions.
The game of chess is another good example of brain balancing exercise.
Chess is a good example of trying to balance between too much focus and too much flexibility. A good chess player has to be able to think ahead a certain number of moves, but not too far against any one possible course of action, but not too shallow either, right? There needs to be a place in the middle, a sweet spot, that just looks far enough into the future that's relevant for the moment.
Our brains have been guided by evolution to be pretty good at many things, not geniuses at one thing. Our mental limits in any one area are all too apparent. Take our memories.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Want to play a pub game?
Yeah.
All right, so in this game, I'm going to give you a category, and you say all the items from that category you can think of.
Thomas is giving what's called a semantic fluency test to some of his students. It measures verbal memory.
Jay, your category is occupations. Go.
Doctor, lawyer, barman, cleaner, plumber, electrician.
Clinicians use this test to measure brain health.
Extra, actor.
Everyone has 60 seconds,
Window cleaner.
but most start to stumble a lot earlier.
Jar, filler.
We may know hundreds of professions, but most people can only recall about 10 to 20 in a minute. Not all of our memory is instantly available.
I saw the job.
But what if it was?
Polar bear, mouse, lion.
What if every animal you ever learned was right there at the tip of your tongue?
Tiger, horse, snake, alligator, dog, squirrel.
Let's suppose you had a perfect memory. Do you want to remember every blade of grass you've ever seen? Do you want to remember every slight you've ever experienced in your life? Every breakup? Every time you've ever stubbed your toe? How well do you want to remember those things?
What may seem at first like a superpower might quickly become a curse.
You could remember everything you've ever experienced, and that might make it more difficult to learn new things, right? In some sense, forgetting helps you learn new contexts and learn new ways to deal with new problems.
Dog, cat, horse,
spider.
In other words, forgetting is just as important a mental skill as remembering. Thomas says it's critical to understand that our evolved brain is a system seeking balance, operating within limits in order to survive a complex world. Improving on what nature gave us may seem tempting, but the brain has taken millions of years to evolve. Supercharge one area, and you could upset the balance. Geniuses like Van Gogh, Tesla, or mathematician John Nash had incredible minds, but also struggled to connect to other people, understand society, or even experience deep emotions.
So there's sort of a mythology around genius, right? That it's kind of potentially a curse. We see this in different types of individuals who've gained fame because they knew a lot of different kinds of things, but at the same time they seem somehow trapped in their own world, which presents problems for social activities like hanging out in the pub.
Thomas believes we should celebrate our limitations. What we call genius might be a mind that's overdeveloped in one area and deficient in another.
So having a supermind is an interesting kind of question. As soon as you start to unpack what supermind means, you start to realize maybe it's not just a good idea after all.
But there might be a way to break through our mental limitations without paying the social and emotional price. Technology may soon artificially expand the brain, link all of our minds together, and show us the path to true genius.